we've been talking a lot about the enhanced trade partnership on the ground, what closer UK-India ties can mean. And now we're going to have a spotlight looking at the West Midlands. And specifically, we're going to be looking at what we might see in terms of what the 2030 roadmap can bring to them. And I'm really delighted now to be joined by Andy Street, the Mayor of West Midlands. Thanks very much for coming along. How are you today?
Yeah, it is great to be with you, and I'm pleased to be joining you from Birmingham, and it's a lovely day, so yeah, all very good.
Well, hello to Birmingham. So tell me, what do you think the significance is of the ETP in the 2030 roadmap for the West Midlands?
Yes, well, thanks for giving me an opportunity just to say a little bit about our region. So obviously the roadmap is very significant for the whole of the UK, hopefully whole of India, but we reckon we've got a particular opportunity in that, and that's what I'd just like to explain. So obviously, Indian business is already incredibly strong in the West Midlands. Our single biggest private company, JLR, is owned by Tata. So what could be a better example of the bond that already exists? And of course, we know that India is projected to grow very rapidly to be the third biggest economy in the world. So we want our share of that. But perhaps people will not know that the West Midlands is also, in a sense, the export capital of the UK. So as a share of our total income, exporting goods is much more significant here than anywhere else, nearly a quarter of our GDP, whereas it's less than 10% in London. So there's an obvious point that as India grows, the place that does the exporting from the UK should be able to grow too. So we saw that. And then I was out in India in 2018, as I'd been in many times before through my job in journalists, and was in Mumbai, in Amritsar, in Delhi. And I just kept thinking, we can do more to cement this bond with the region directly. So we've set up recently our own West Midlands India Trade Partnership, and we're really thinking about the sectors that are going to really grow. We think there's a symbiosis between our region and India, and perhaps the best example of that is the way in which this area of the country is leading in battery technology and electric vehicles. We know the R&D we do here is really relevant to India as well. And we've got a couple of other sort of little moments coming up in the next year that will put the global spotlight on Birmingham and the West Midlands. And of course, one of them is the Commonwealth Games and the tourism and trade program that exists around that. And the other, of course, is the fact that we've got direct links with Birmingham, through Birmingham Airport, to Delhi, to Amritsar, and we're looking to expand that network as well. So there were lots of reasons that we thought there was a chance for us, a special chance at this moment, for us to really grow trade between the two areas.
It's interesting to hear from Tim Jones from Tata this morning about the importance of diaspora and how much that can add to exports and in fact trade in general between developed nations. I wonder what strength the West Midlands offers to foreign and Indian investors. What sectors are particularly key?
So Tim's right about the diaspora. So we've got, I think, outside London, the biggest Indian diaspora in the country here. And if you look at people leading institutions across the West Midlands, often they are from the Indian diaspora. And you see huge representation of that diaspora in our university sector. So Tim is absolutely spot on that that's a really big advantage that we've got. And actually, if you look at the tourism that visits to that diaspora bring both ways, actually, there's real business that comes from that as well. So it's a very significant point. In coming straight to your sectors, your question about the sectors, though, the first sector, of course, would be the automotive sector. That's been the real strength of this region's economy. Also, the aerospace sector, a big strength there. There isn't a single commercial aircraft in the world that flies without parts from the West Midlands. And what we're seeing, of course, is those sectors be changed as we move towards net zero. So research around net zero jets is happening here, but also, of course, production of electric vehicles is happening here. And we've seen recently another lovely example in this sector. We've seen TVS, the Indian company, invest in electric motorcycle production in Solihull in the West Midlands, having bought that wonderful old British brand Norton out of receivership. So that's perhaps our lead sector. But just two other things I'd like to call out as well. Another huge area of growth and where we're seeing Indian investment and real strength is in that professional services and financial services sector. And as technology changes those sectors towards fintech, and we do have the biggest cluster outside London in those sectors. And just the sort of poster child investment that we've just seen, not an Indian company, but a global company, Goldman Sachs setting up its second headquarters in the UK here in Birmingham. Companies like Infosys, what they're doing here, if you look at Enzen, which of course has been an incredibly successful Indian business services company, and their headquarters for the UK, again in Solihull, we're seeing that cluster be really strong. But perhaps almost going back to where you started with the diaspora point, I think the biggest opportunity we really have is our universities and the quality of the R&D that is going on there. So if I just choose a few of them, first of all, if you think of what's happening at Birmingham Uni, where we're actually working in real specialist rail and services, and we're working with the Indian National Railways, giving them great advice and tech breakthroughs there. If you think of the Warwick Manufacturing Group, of sort of research and development they're carrying on in all of this net zero future mobility work, that's a huge area of international expertise that we're hoping to work with Tata on. And then, of course, if you think what's happening with Birmingham City University, the collaboration they have with Infosys. So we're seeing those universities drive investment as well. Hopefully that gives you some sense of why I'm very optimistic, Edie.
Themes that we've spoken about today: investment, education. You're tying them all together. So since 2017, I wonder how you personally have seen the UK-India trade ties developing, and have you seen since May, since the great leap, the great leap forward, since the ETP was signed, additional momentum being injected?
There's definitely momentum, definitely. Just give you one stat, which isn't quite since May, but it sort of talks to momentum at the moment. Last year, 2020 full year, so just before the signing, obviously, just looking at my note for the exact number, 57% of Indian investment into the UK came into the West Midlands. So, I mean, that's a remarkable stat, that over half of it came into the West Midlands. So the momentum is definitely with us when you ask, what am I seeing right now? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
And where is that investment going into? What kind of sectors? The things you've been speaking about?
It's very much the sectors we've talked about. So that automotive sector, the electrification of, well, the advanced manufacturing sector is our single biggest. Then the second sector would be that professional services sector. Third is med tech. We're seeing that. And fourth is very much the creative sector. So the great thing is Indian investment is coming into the sectors that are really going to lead our economy. So that's why I say I sense the momentum is with us. The TVS news is recent. Enzen's growth is recent. So yeah, it's encouraging. And on the back of that, we're committed to a trade mission to India next year. That sounds so old-fashioned, that way of describing it, but we want to sort of, what's the word? We want to cement those relationships even more. And there's nothing better way of doing it than doing the face-to-face piece. I perhaps should say, in my time before this job, I was managing director of John Lewis, CEO of John Lewis. And one of the things I was most proud of was that we set up a housing office in India, had partners in the organization in India. And I know that wouldn't have happened without that face-to-face dialogue. So as the COVID restrictions are now lifting, I want to get back out there to Mumbai and Delhi in particular, and also to Bangalore and to Chennai to really do that face-to-face promotion of those opportunities.
Interesting, actually, speaking with some of the folks this morning about education, about universities, is that when you are able to bring UK and Indian universities together in partnership, you not only expand the lives of students and teachers, but actually business as well, that universities can help engender that trade tie between business. I don't know if you've seen that.
Spot on, and I'll give you perhaps an unusual example of where we are seeing that actually. So one of the relationships we're very proud of is between the University of Hampton and actually the University, I think it's called the University of Punjab in Amritsar, and actually the work that is being done on Sikh studies. And actually that has been an incredible collaboration, and we are actually seeing business links with the Punjab forming on the back of that. Because actually within the diaspora in Wolverhampton, it is predominantly a Sikh faith diaspora, which is different to other parts of the region. And so we wanted to formalize that relationship with Amritsar. And so we've got different strands to this. Whereas if you think of the automotive sector link, that is much more of a link with Maharashtra and different community, and it tends to be a very strong Maharashtrian diaspora who are working, for example, in the JLR plants and research and development in Solihull and Warwickshire. So even within our small geography of the country, different parts of India are represented more or less strongly. So we do understand that need to be precise in those relationships.
Thank you very much, Andy Street, Mayor of West Midlands, for spending some time looking at the spotlight on the West Midlands, the enhanced trade partnership on the ground. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you for the conference.
Thank you.